Hey there, Middler Strategy Battle Gamers. We're here at the Tactics Talk, and we'll be talking today about an army that is one that. So we've never played this army. Neither of us have played it, but we've versed it so many times. We've helped our friends build this army, and we've had a lot of friends who've played this army. So the army is Durins folk. Which you could probably tell by the title, but Durins folk, in my opinion, is top seat with Isengard, or it was. I don't know. We'll see. Iron Hills might take their place, but the most competitive, kind of most forgiving army to play. High defense. You can have the higher strength, strength 4 with the higher defense, the higher fights.
Good heroes.
Great heroes. Siege engines. The only things they lack are cavalry and higher movement.
Spear support too.
Spear support. So Durin's folk, yeah. So we'll break it down. We have our books. So we'll start with the heroes.
Yeah.
So their first hero in their profile, which is a great hero, is Durin, King of the Khazad Doom. So Durin is a beast. He's fight 6. He's strength 4, defense 9, 3 attacks, 3 wounds, courage 6. He's 3 might, 3 will, 1 fate. Now, he's 1 fate, but he is defense 9 with 3 wounds, so he's hard to kill. I mean, unless you have something like Azog or Aragorn. He's a beast, and he has a bunch of rules. He has the crown of the king, so pretty much he has fury. He also causes terror. He can upgrade 2 points to for any warrior in this.
Yeah,
automatically Hearthguard to automatically
pass their courage test, which
courage,
was really good. Although Durin's a little bit more expensive than some of the other heroes.
He's a little bit more expensive.
I did see him used once in a tournament, and he did do pretty good.
Yep. Okay, so then Martin is number 2. Martin you pretty much take as a kind of a guard for Durin. He has a spear, so he is one model that does have a spear. He has a he counts. Okay, so anytime you rolled a wound, you get +1 to your dice roll on the wound chart, which is really good. So it's pretty much like a 2-handed weapon, but you don't get the negative. Sworn Protector. As long as Durin is within 12 inches of Martin, will automatically pass all courage tests he has to take. If Durin is slain or leaves the table, Martin reverts to the normal rules courage. So yeah, he's pretty much he's a bodyguard. You know what I'm saying? So
I normally haven't. I don't know. People don't normally take him.
I never.
He's good if you want to test him out, but
he's 3 might, 1 will, 1 fate. So 3 might, and this army is definitely not short of 3 might heroes.
No. Yeah.
Nor fight 6 heroes.
Like generally, it's kind of sad. Generally, we say, "Oh, no one really takes Martin," but he is if it's just because it's so cribbed full of great heroes to take.
So here's another one. A lot of people take this one.
This is the big one.
Is Balin, son of Fundin. So he's the old profile for Balin before the Hobbit movies came out. He's really strong. So he can take Durin's Axe, which is a 2-handed weapon that does not get the penalty for hitting, and you get to re-roll 1 of your dice in combat. So if you roll a 1, you want to re-roll it, bam, you got a 6. Balin is fight 6, strength 4, defense 8, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 6, 3 might, 3 will, 1 fate. Again, like Durin, he's 1 fate, but he's hard to wound. I think I've killed him a few times. My friend used to take him, and I'd play Rohan. I'd get a few, because it was before Strix, I'd get a few lucky. I knocked him down, and I was able to kill him with knockdown, but he's really hard to kill. Everyone on that page. Okay, so here's the old profile for Dane. I don't remember ever seeing many people take Dane back then, just because I think, again, he's a little more expensive than some of the other heroes.
Yeah. He's actually one of the only heroes that has fight 5.
Yeah. So he's profile, he's fight 5, strength 4, defense 9, 3 attack, 3 wounds, courage 7. He has 3 might, 3 will, 2 fate. So he's real hard to kill. Defense 9. So he has his weapon, which is the axe. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's in Dwarvish. It's a 2-handed weapon. he gets when rolling a fight, he adds +1 to his dice roll on the wounds chart, but he does not suffer the -1 penalty to the roll the fight. So he has the 2 weapon, so he pretty much just Burly.
Yeah, he didn't have any penalties.
Yeah, so far pretty much all the dwarf heroes have had Burly.
King Under the Mountain, he has a 12-inch steadfast, which is really nice.
And then he has Venerable, which means he gets minus... He's not as agile as he once was. Dane has to make a jump or climb test. Good player must roll 2 dice and choose the lowest number. So that's pretty bad, especially if you roll like a 6 and a 1. Well, he's gonna have to fall down. So I remember that's kind of one of his downfalls, and he is a little bit more like compared to some of the other heroes. He's a little bit more expensive. So that's why I don't think many. I remember seeing many people take him. They took Ballin and Gimli and all of them. So
here's another good one.
Yep.
Gimli, Son of Glowing. So it's normally Gimli and Ballin and King's Champ, which we'll go over in just a second. Those are the 3 heroes that people normally take. Really good heroes, really hard to verse. But here's Gimli. He is Fight 6, Strength 4, Defense 8, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, Courage 6, 3 might, 2 will, 2 fate. He can take a Elven Cloak, which is a pretty much must. Makes him really hard to shoot, and even with his Defense 8, I mean, it's pretty much forces you to get in combat with Gimli, and that's not where you want to be with him.
It also makes it harder for casters to target him for magic and stuff, which is really good.
At the beginning of the each fight phase, so Gimli has a special rule. It's his axes of the dwarves. So you can either choose to go 2-handed with no penalty, or you could choose to have 3 attacks.
Yep.
So you have to choose at the beginning of the fight phase, but that's a really good rule, especially when you're like surrounded to guy. Okay, this turn I need to be able to wound, or this turn I need to be able to win the fight, and that's kind of how you can decide.
Sorry guys, we're back. We had to go do something real quick. So the next profile we're going to talk about is Floyd Stoneham. He's one of their more interesting characters for the dwarves, because he's not really a fighty hero. He's only 2 attack, fight 4. But what he does have is the Lore Master rule and the Living Lore. So Lore Master rule means at the start of the movement, Floyd may spend a point of will to negate an enemy's special rule for the rest of the turn. There is no range to this ability, and as long as Floyd can see the foe and has will to spend, it works. For an example, this can prevent terror and stop Gothmog's Master of Battle, and so on. Okay, so that's a really good ability, especially when you start fighting character ring wraiths, models of terror. Aragorn, for instance, you can get rid of his mighty hero rule. And then he has the Living Lore. So each time a friendly dwarf kills an enemy hero or a multi-wound model, Floyd receives an additional will point. This can take his
him above his.
So again, this is a really good rule to keep getting him to get will.
Yeah.
So if you start fighting, for instance, if you're fighting Gundabad, you start versing the ogres, who are pretty squishy. They're on defense 5, and you got your strength 4 dwarves, so you increase in strength. I could easily see you killing some ogres, or maybe even some of their weaker heroes. So that's a really good rule. So I see a lot of people take him just because of his like the character ring wraiths. For instance, they have some really good rules. And then being able to negate that, like the Shadow Lord, you can get rid of his 6-up shot rule. You can get rid of the Undying's wounds to fate. You can get rid of the Necromancer's rule as well, where he has no fate, but you use his will as fate. You can get rid of that rule so they don't have fate. Okay, so now we have
Mirren and Gerard.
Mirren and Gerard. Some more runs to these?
Yeah, so Mirren and Gerard. So you have one Mirren who is more of a fighting hero, and Gerard who's like more of an archery hero. Mirren can, his special rule is Kazial.
It's a sword.
This is a sword that allows him to reroll wounds against orcs, Urkai, and goblins. His stat line is Fight 5, Strength 4, Defense 8, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, Courage 5, 3 might, 1 will, 1 fate. So he's like more of a fighting hero, and he comes with Gerard, so they're both pretty good for the points.
It's like Eldon and Eller here. You have to take them together, and then your warband consists of 11 models instead of.
Which my friend both friends who played Durins folks take them, and I haven't seen many other people take them.
I mean, they're real solid.
And then Gerard, he's more of the shooty hero. He has expert shot, which allows him to shoot twice in a shooting phase. And he's going to be fight 5, strength 4, defense 7. So pretty good for a shooting hero, having a high defense. 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 5, 3 might, 1 will, 1 fate. Both of them have a option. If you include Mirren and Gerard, you may upgrade any number of dwarf warriors or rangers to Iron Hills veterans at 2 points per model, and this gives them strength 4.
Yeah.
So that's good, especially if you want to have a strength 4 is always good to have if you can take it.
Yep.
So,
especially that's why I was saying for a long time, because I know in a video I said for Isengard, I think they were probably pound for pound. But I don't know, because honestly, Durin's folk, in my opinion, are up there. They're so forgiving. They're so they have a lot of access to strength 4. Their heroes are bar none, probably some of the best pointed cost heroes. You know what I'm saying? If you look at pretty much the first 3 pages of heroes, none of them are bad. I would take any of them. I mean, there's some armies like Rohan where you're like, okay, well, this whole page of heroes is a little bit weak compared to this, but even so now the regular heroes, the non-named heroes for dwarves as well, are really good. So we got a dwarf captain who's fight 5, 4 attack, strength 4, 4 attack, strength 4, defense 7, 2 attack, 2 wounds, courage 5, 2 might, 1 will, 1 fate. He's pretty cheaply cost. But I don't normally see people take dwarf captains just because the other dwarf heroes are so good.
You can take the other dwarf heroes for similar points.
Yeah, so then we got a dwarf king. He's a little bit better. So he's fight 6, strength 4, defense 8, 2 attack, 2 wounds. He's 2 might, 2 will, 1 fate. He's a little bit more expensive than a captain, but you're paying a little bit more for base defense 8, fight 6, and 1 more will point. I'd say he'd be worth that.
Yeah, I've seen people take dwarf kings before.
Okay, then we got the shield bearer. I've seen quite a few people take shield bearers before. So he's same points cost as a captain. He's fight 5, strength 4, defense 8, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 4. He's 1 might, no will, no fate. Okay, so then he has a really long rule.
While you read that, I'll go over his other one. Lead by example. Okay. The dwarven warriors and heroes within 12 inches of the shield bearer can reroll failed courage test. That's really good. So anybody within 12 inches of him can reroll their failed courage. He's kind of a good hero, I believe, to help protect, help kind of just have a synergy between the army. Yeah.
So this shield bearer rule is actually really good. So I said he had 1 point of might. Okay. But then he has this defense of the king. So if he's within 3 inches, so at the beginning of the game he has to nominate a hero who's going to protect. So let's say you had Gimli, and Gimli was your leader. You were going to protect Gimli, right? So if you're within 3 inches of the protected hero, and the hero is in base contact with 1 or more enemy models, the shield bearer must immediately call a heroic fight without expending any might. However, the shield bearer must use the free move to reach the protected fight if possible. If you have more than 1 shield bearer, each may protect a different hero. If you wish, just make sure that this is absolutely clear to your opponent.
He also has no will, no fate, so that leaves him pretty susceptible to dying in magic.
Yeah, so the one thing I would say, he is defense 8, but 1 might. So that is a really good rule. You get a free hero movement, or heroic combat.
Yeah.
But I can see that being bad, because you do the hero move. You have 1 might. So you roll a 4 highest, and your opponent rolls a 6.
Or 5.
5, yeah. So you're either going to have to might that, use your 1 point of might, or you're going to have to let it slide, and then, your hero, it is in ways, so Gimli was trapped, surrounded by, Uruk-hai or something. I can see that being a little bit of a downfall to him. I mean, honestly, I've seen quite a few people take him before, but I probably would take one of the other characters.
Yeah. I mean, let's get to the next guy. He's the big guy. So this guy, Gimli and Balin, are my picks for the 3 heroes I would take if I ran Durin's folk.
And we normally see that.
Yeah, and you normally see that. So the King's Champion.
Yep.
Alright, so they have two different stat lines. The King's Champion, and he comes with 2 Heralds, 2 Banner Bearers, pretty much, which is really good. So the King's Champion is fight 6, strength 5, pretty good. Defense 7, 3 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 5, 2 might, 1 will, 1 fate. And here the Heralds are fight 4, strength 4, defense 7, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 4, 1 will, 2 fate. So the Heralds, when the Heralds are in base contact with the King's Champ, it's +1 to his defense. So if you have both Heralds in base contact with him, they're defense 9. If you have one Herald in base contact with him, he's defense 8. So you could have none in base contact and just run the banners on separate edges of the board. I've seen that done before. But I like to have that defense 9 with the King's Champ.
So they can expand fate. They can also expand their 2 fate on behalf of the King's Champ. They cannot take wounds for the King's Champ. And also, I know a lot of people make this mistake. I know a lot of people actually use their will to resist magic, but they cannot. They can only use their fate to do that. So will, they cannot use for the King's Champ. Just the fate. So yeah, normally when we see, because depending on points, normally what I see people take King's Champ, I see people take
Ballin,
Gimli, and or sometimes Floy is thrown in there. Or they throw in a caster like Saruman. Normally this first page of heroes is pretty... Okay, so other than Ballin, the 2 first guys are pretty expensive. Dane's pretty expensive. So I think normally we see the cheaper guys, but I mean, they're real solid.
Yeah, they have the same stat line as the most expensive guys.
Yeah.
And here's one thing I do like about the new dwarves.
Yep.
So I guess we'll go over them in a separate video, but they are kind of similar to these guys.
Yeah, I mean, they're reminiscent. Like when I think of the new
Thorin
and Dwalin, Dane, and Iron, especially the Iron Hills guys. I think more of this old school kind of Durins folk. The new airborne dwarves lacked what this dwarf army had. So, all right. So now we're gonna go into the warriors. So this is like one of the things about Durins folk is their warriors.
They're real good solid warriors. Yeah.
So
let's just put it this way. I normally, when I play Gondor, because I played Gondor against dwarves a lot, and the dwarf warriors always shut down the Minister of the Warriors. Their stat line is strength fight 4, which is good. Fight 4 is good to have.
That.
Strength 3, you can give him strength 4 with Mir and Gerard. That'd be good to have. I mean, you could be pretty tied with the Urukai. Defense 6. 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 4, which is also really good.
Yep.
They can take a banner, a warhorn, a dwarf bow, which is a 18-inch strength 3 shot, which is pretty good. It's like a little machine gun.
Yep.
A 2-handed weapon, and a shield. So a shield is a must because you want that defense 7. So if you must have shields, and I would recommend if you don't have to upgrade these guys with banners, you can use one of the heralds with the King's Champ. Yes. They have all their they all work pretty well together. They have a really nice synergy together.
Yeah, this is what I was saying, reminiscent. So really, if you look at Iron Hills, Iron Hills stuff, their stats are almost identical, except they have strength 4 base. They can take the 2-handed weapon.
They're a little bit more expensive.
They're a little more expensive, but you know what I'm saying. That's why I think it's a little more reminiscent of this. So you can take Dwarf Rangers. I normally, personally, have not seen many people take Dwarf Rangers. I know some people do. They have the longer range bows and stuff. I'm not saying they got the better. So I'll just go over their stats. So 4, fight 4, 3-up shot, which is better than a Dwarf Warrior. Strength 3, defense 5, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 4. They have Mountain Dweller. Dwarf Rangers may reroll any jump or climb test and move through rocky areas that are classed as difficult terrain as if they were open ground. So that's a really good rule. They lack the defense of the warriors, but they have a little better shooting.
Yeah. You can also give them a dwarf longbow, which is a 24-inch strength 2 shot.
Yep.
So, I mean, you're losing... I personally rather have strength 3 bows.
They can take throwing axes.
Yeah, you can take throwing axes, but it's kind of the minister. A lot of people take minister warriors, but strength 2 bows. I'd rather have the strength 3.
Yeah. Iron Guard. So these guys are beasts. I've seen quite a few people take them. Sam
takes them all the time.
You
can go look at some of our battle reports and do pretty good.
I know that a lot of people class them as really good flank. Like you have them to come hit a flank, clip a support, and they're beasts. I mean, so they're movement 5. All the dwarves are movement 5. Fight 4. Strength 4, defense 6, 2 attacks, 1 wound, courage 4. So they have throwing axes too. They're a little bit more expensive than the rest of the troop, but I mean they're 2 attack, strength 4.
Yeah.
I mean they can piercing strike. They can get, you know what I'm saying. So I just see them as being a really solid, like, they're almost a berserker. They're like a mini berserker, pretty much.
Yeah. And then you have the Vault Worn teams. Vault Worn teams is what Sim takes a lot of.
Yep.
They're pretty expensive for a unit, but they come with 2 guys. The Iron Shield is fight 4, strength 4, defense 9, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 4. Defense 9 is the big shield, so you use those guys, put them in the middle of your shield wall, and then you have spear support behind them. So that generally is what I would do.
This is like the only dwarf unit in this list that can take a spear.
Yeah.
Or that it comes with a spear.
Yeah. The spear and shield guy, he pretty much if you lose the spear support, if the spear support guy dies, and he is defense 5. Let me go over his stats real quick. He's fight 4, strength 4, defense 5, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 4.
So the defense 5 though is a rotted.
Yeah.
So it's not defense 6.
6. Yeah. So but if the spear support guy dies, then you get -1 to hit.
Yeah. So it's pretty much a tuned weapon.
Yeah.
Without it's like a banner. It's a banner pretty much.
Yeah. Unless you have that spear support.
Yeah. So yeah, they're honestly all the troop choices we've listed so far are troop choices I'd be interested in. Depending on points games, I probably wouldn't take Rangers. I would take Warriors, Iron Hills. I would probably even throw 1 or 2 Vault Worn teams. So here's the unit that we see a lot. Khazad-gar. They are these guys are like the
premier.
These are like what Iron Hills dwarves are. So
and they're about the same points.
Same points. So they have bodyguard for Durins folk specifically, so they can automatically pass courage tests as long as the hero's alive. And honestly, with the dwarf heroes, their stats are so solid. Like their defense and wounds, they're probably not going to die. So these guys are pretty much going to be fearless. More than likely.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're fight 4, strength 4, defense 7, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 4. I mean, like, okay, they're 1 attack, but they're defense 7 with a tuned weapon.
Yeah.
Fight 4. So yeah, they're just you surround someone and piercing strike. That's pretty bad. Their fight 4 is also really good. I mean, and then the last unit in the Durins folk is the ballista. Now, I haven't seen many people take the ballista before. I know it's pretty good. I think it only scatters 3 inches. I don't think I'm gonna cover it because I just don't see many people take it. So
it's pretty much siege equipment. You can upgrade it with
cap
stuff and probably the best siege. I mean I don't really like. I've seen it just. Generally, here's what happens: is you have that one shot you normally miss the whole game.
Yeah.
So
you normally have the first turn. You use your might to hit, and you use your might to do something, and then you run out of might. And you roll 3s to hit the rest of the game.
It's just a pretty big, unless you're playing like a scenario.
Yeah, a scenario or a bigger points game. But yeah, I just don't use siege equipment for it. I used the ballista one time in a points game for Isengard, and it didn't really work out. So let's go over it real quick. We'll go over the.
Let's go over
So the weaknesses for Iron Hills.
Yeah.
So what are not Iron Hills? Durins folk. Sorry. So Durins folk weaknesses. When I verse Durins folk, normally they have a hard time versing cavalry.
Yeah.
Someone that can throw more dice than them, and then when they knock them down, there's a better chance of them getting wounded.
They also have a low movement, so it's hard to close that distance when you have such a high movement.
Low movement. They normally have a hard time with elves. Like when we played, our friends who played Durins folk normally have a hard time versing our friends who played elves. They're higher fight. They would win the fights. They're magic. But I mean, like I said at the beginning of the video, they're so forgiving. Honestly, I've versed Durins folk. In some games, they just run through me. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just, no problem. They just kill my Theoden, or they kill Eomer, or they kill Thranduil, whoever, and they just like run through my army and no problem. There are other games where I have to play really tactful and try and
play smart.
I mean, they're harder to kill. It's a really hard army to verse. And that's why I would say, I know I said I think pound for pound Isengard was best, but I would say if I had to pick, I think Durins folk might be a little bit more forgiving, but Isengard can take magic and monsters and all that. I don't know. It's kind of a thing. Honestly, it's kind of player to player.
All right, so let's just go over one thing real quick. If you were to build Durins folk today,
all their models are still
all their models are still print. So you can go down to a local Games Workshop, And you could talk to the store manager and have him help you order from the store.
Yep.
And they'll love you for that. You can do that. And here, let's talk about if you just want to build a quick army, 500 points.
You could probably do this with $100.
Yeah, you could probably do this with $100. 500 points just to get started. Like, okay, let me get my feet wet with Durins spec. I love dwarves. A lot of people love dwarves. I like dwarves personally. I don't really wouldn't play dwarves because that's not who I am. Yeah. I like Gondor, but so I would take if I was you and you wanted to spend $100. If you have $100 to spend, Gimli.
Yep.
King's Champ. Ballin.
You have to buy Ballin and Dane in the box, but
yeah. And then I'd buy a box set of
Warriors.
Mm-hmm. Maybe some Khazad Guard.
A blister of Khazad, you get 3.
Yep. And that's probably about $100.
It's probably about $100. You got
And then when you wanted to build up in points, you can look at some of the other units. Like we were talking about, you have Khazad Guard in the center of your shield wall. They have a high defense, so it's going to be hard to punch through.
Yep.
But that's generally what I would do, and what I would do, and kind of because our friend, he started off with Balin, Gimli, and King's Champ. Box of Warriors, and he was set. He actually went and placed second in one of the Maimon Mountains tournaments that we had multiple years, 2012. So, Durins is a great army, and you can either still in print, so you can go down to Gaming Workshop and order them, and with no problems.
Yep, no problem. And I honestly think that if I had to pick, like I was gonna say, I think maybe like some of the troop choices. If you guys had to do like, okay, so if you're like, okay, if I had $150, I only have $150. I've never played Lord of the Rings before. King's Champ, Gimli, Ballin, Dane pack. I think that's probably around $60. I think total, because it's 20 for them, and then King's Champ I think is another 20, and I think Gimli. Okay, so it might be like $40.
Yeah.
2 boxes of Dwarf Warriors, maybe 2 blisters of Khazad Guard. Maybe even a blister for the Vault Warden. Something like that. That'd be a really good start. It's a lot of painting. And honestly, in terms of painting, I've painted actually a lot of dwarves for my friends. And they're actually pretty fun to paint, and they're pretty easy to paint. I mean, again, it's like easy, because Isengard and dwarves both are pretty easy to paint, so it's a good army to get into in all facets of it. So, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. We're going on rants now. So, please like, share, subscribe, comment. And happy working.